Hello, welcome to the pre-class again. This is session 2, Network Programming. Today, we will cover the following, slightly shorter than the before class. In this session, you don't need to set or prepare the environment. Okay, then let's start. Today, we are in the connected world. Countless devices and countless people are connected to each other. Also, the application of the internet is getting expanded. In the past, we used the internet only when we turn on computer. But nowadays, we can find many things that are using internet. Let's look at the example here. Even toaster can use internet. In this course, not just using internet and application, we will understand the backgrounds. And then, by using this, we will make our own application that use internet and networking. This will be made in the lab session when we are meet, so prepare via this lecture. How far is Korea from Ghana? Google says Korea is about 1200 kilometers away from Ghana. Oh, it's too far. It is surprising that we can communicate over the long distance, isn't it? How can we do that? Even if you send your signal by using light, it seems difficult. Let me see. This is our Earth, and I'm here, and you are here. Even if you send your light, it doesn't reach me. Does it make sense? But we are in the connected world. Actually, our message, signal, and this video is forwarded by many of router and link. Nevertheless, it is very fast, right? So, what is Internet? Internet is a global network system with Internet Protocol Suite. Oh, this definition is something hard, but we can see global network and Internet Protocol Suite. That's all. What is protocol? Protocol is a rule, and protocol defines everything in the communication. Here is an example. I want to send some data to someone, but if there is no rule, the receiver may not understand what does this data mean. However, if there is a rule, such as this is student ID and this is an age, grade, GPA, and so on, then everyone can understand this. Suppose that I sent some data to someone, but it was lost. Then how can we know that the data was gone, or how can the receiver know that? And if then, should we send data again, or just give up? Protocol also defines such a detailed method. So, again, protocol defines almost everything in communication. Which format of data, how to establish the connection, how to check the validity, and so on. And many protocols are under the internet. There are some things you might hear, such as IP, HTTP, DNS, or TCP? TCP is more reliable than UDP. It means that it is safe and trustworthy because it ensures no data loss and data is delivered in order. For example, if we send data like A, B, C, D, E, then there is no case like A, C, D, E, or A, B, C, E, D. There is no case. So it seems very good, but it is relatively slow. Meanwhile, UDP is faster than TCP, but sometimes we lose some data. Data loss sounds very critical. Then, should we only TCP? Actually, no. We can choose one of them according to our purpose or preference. Let's take some example. For example, chat or texting app must be reliable because changing only one character may be critical. Do you agree? How about streaming platform? We may totally agree that it must be fast, and sometimes it is okay to lose several pixels because we cannot notice that. Anyway, just remember, communication requires a rule, and the rule is a protocol. Then let's look at other concepts. In short, IP address is a kind of address in order to find someone. You may see such an address format in somewhere, right? Then, if we know someone's IP address, then can you communicate now? Is it done? Unfortunately, we need to learn more. Look at your computer. Which programs are running? Maybe web browsers such as Firefox or Chrome, and some messenger or game, and so on. And it is obvious that each program in your computer communicates with different one, like this. So we are communicating with several people or server concurrently. But there is a problem. Let me see the example. Imagine such a situation. You want some picture from Google, so we request our computer to find this. So computer gathers some data from network, but at the same time, some data from different applications will be arrived. So the problem is that how can the computer distinguish this? The solution is that computer uses separate doors and each communication is done in each door, like this. For example, it is your home and you are here. And there are two doors and you have two friends. He's A, he's B. You can communicate with A only here and with B only here. Then if some message is here, then we can think that, it is a message from A. Such a door is called port. So we can determine how do we communicate by IP address and by port number and by protocol. Does it make sense? Then let's learn about client-server model. What is server and client? Client requests and gets the service from the server, and server provides the service to client. In most cases, but not always, we usually communicate as a client. Why? We usually request to server to provide some service, such as cute picture or video and something. Getting service does not mean just getting some data or file. We sometimes give some data, like uploading some image to social network. But it is also getting service, not providing service. So we are client in this case. The important point is that the task and role are divided into two parts, client and server. We will look at TCP again, because we will learn about TCP client-server model. How does it work? Let's see that step by step. First, server waits for someone who wants to communicate with the server. And some client wants to communicate, so send a message saying, I want you, let's communicate. And then the server accepts the request by sending accepting message. And then the client sends message again for acknowledge. From now, the connection is established. Then client can send some data to the server, or can receive some data from server. If the connection is leaved, the client can do this many times. If client or server wants to terminate such a communication, then the connection is closed. The explanation is quite simplified, but actually it is almost everything about TCP client-server model. More detailed explanation is in the supplement, so please refer this. Anyway, I think that you can understand such a procedure, right? Then you will implement this communication. How? By socket programming. So, what is socket? Socket is an interface to communicate across the network. For example, you can imagine a post box like this, and there is someone. Instead of sending or receiving mail directly, we put some letter to there, and some postman carry this to here. Such a post box is socket. Can you understand? And socket programming is a programming for communication with socket. Python provides several functions for this. Let's look at the procedure and then we will make some sample program together. At the first, client and server should create its own socket by using socket function. And then server binds socket. It means that it indicates host name and port number by using bind function. And by calling listen function, server waits for client. And some client who wants to communicate with server connects to server by using connect function. And then server can accept this by using accept function. Then the connection is established and they communicate with send or receive function. Lastly, if someone wants to terminate the connection, then call close function, and then connection is closed. Note that, as we can see, the tasks are different between client and server. So we will make both client and server applications. Before the lab session in the real-time class, we prepared some practice for you. Then let's make it together now. In this practice, we will implement a client and server. The server will receive message from the client and then print out it. And the client sends the message to server. Do you understand? Then let's start. First of all, we should make some new file like this. I will name it as client and server. Okay, I will write on the server first. So let's start. The first, we should import socket library like this. Socket library provides several functions for socket programming. And we will define something like IP like this and port like this. This IP address is called loopback because it means myself. So we can communicate with ourselves by using loopback IP address. And we can use port as the number between 1 to 65, 535, like this. I recommend to use the number as sufficiently large number, like this. And then we can create our socket like this. Okay. We can use socket function. Then the socket function requires two parameters. At the first, which IP address system will be used, and then which protocol will be used. At the first, we will use IPv4 IP system, so we use AF INET like this. And then, because we will use TCP, so can use sock string. It means socket string. And then we will use some methods. So socket option and fill like this. Reuse address and I will skip the explanation about this, but it is explained in the supplement material. It is just for avoiding some trouble and error. And then we can bind our socket by using bind function. Bind requires just a parameter, but this is a tuple with the host and port number. The host limits the client by using IP address. If the host is empty, then we can allow every client regardless of the IP address, but we will use our own IP. And then we can use listen function and accept function for waiting for the client and accept this. We can use this like this. My socket listen and my socket dot accept, and my socket accepts returns a tuple with client socket and its address. So we can get this information by using this. And then if we are in here, then it means the connection is done successfully. Yeah. So we will receive some message from client and will be print. So I will use while loop in order to continuously receive the message. So we will use receive function from socket of client. By using this, we can wait for some message and store the data. Also, it requires some parameter, the buffer size. It means just the maximum size of message, so we can put it with sufficiently large number, and we can store this to data variable. And note that the message is encoded, so if we want to see or something others, then we should decode this value. We can use decode method, and then we can print out by using print function. Message data. this is for all. Then let's move on to client side and make this. In the same way, we should import socket library and we have loopback IP and port number. Note that the port number and IP should same with the servers, so I will use 10,000 number and create client socket using ITinerary and socket stream. And then client use connect function to request the connection to server. We should put the parameter like a tuple with IP and port number. It is like bind function, right? Then it sends some kind of request to server. And then if we are here, then connection may be established successfully. And then let's send a message continuously by using while true. We can get some message from console by using input, as we learned. In this way, we can send some message to server by using console. And note that we should send the message with encoded data by using encode method. And then we can send method by like this. The send function sends some message to the corresponding server. So we can put this. Then that's all. Then let me check if it is working well. First, we should run the server first because server should wait for client. Yeah, it is not ended because it waits and listens the client's request to connect. And then let's run the client. Okay, then maybe the connection is established, so send any message. Hello world, hello server, nice to meet you. Then let's see the result in the server. Oh, very well. The message is conveyed very nicely. So, okay, it was just simple practice without detailed explanation, but we will provide this in the supplement and exercise for this. So practice is done. Very good job. If you have any questions, please comment to ask us. Okay, then let's get back to the slide. This is the reference we used. That's all for today. Thank you everyone. See you in the next class.